Alright, well sometimes you get to everybody's favorite type of function, and that is what we call a piecewise function, and that is when you have two or more equations that combine to make one equation. And they have a specific domain. So, for example 4, what we're going to do is we're actually going to evaluate a piecewise function before we end up graphing it, so this will be your lucky day. Notice you have two parts to your function. You have two pieces. You have 3x minus 4, and that is defined when x is less than 0. You have 3x plus 1 when x is greater than or equal to 0. So when we have to evaluate these functions, we have to evaluate f of negative 2. We're going to have to evaluate f of 0. And we're also going to have to evaluate f of 2. That's a 2. That's a horrible 2. So when we plug these values in, we're not going to plug this negative 2 into both equations. We have to plug it into wherever where it's defined. Well, f of negative 2, that is where x is less than 0. So it's not where x is greater than or equal to 0, it's where x is less than 0. We're going to plug it into this equation right here. So we're going to say 3 times negative 2 minus 4, and we evaluate it. We get negative 6 minus 4 gives us a negative 10. Okay, it's not too bad. It's pretty similar to the last example, A and B. Now when we have an f of 0, well, f of 0, that's a little bit different. That is where you are, it's not where it's less than 0, but that's where x is greater than or equal to 0. So when x is greater than or equal to 0, here and here, you're actually going to use this bottom function. So we're not going to plug it into the top, because this right here, these are called our constraints. That tells us what where your x is defined. So if x is equal to 0, we're going to say 3 times 0 plus 1. That is just 0 plus 1, which is equal to 1. Got any more brain busters?
Bunt. B-U-N-T in perfect cursive. Any more brain busters?
Rizzuto.
Z.
Zaruto?
Those are Z's.
They look like R's to me.
That's not fair. Rizzuto is not a word. He's a baseball player. You're cheating.
Would you like to try the word buzz?
I hate cursive and I hate all of you. I'm never coming back to school. Never!
That gets me every time. Get more brain buster, but I got a brain buster for you here. We're going to plug a 2 in. We're going to see if you can figure out where it goes. Well, top equation, bottom equation. Yeah, it's going to go in the bottom because 2 is greater than or equal to 0. So we're going to say 3 times 2 minus, just kidding, plus 1. So 6 plus 1 is 7. Hopefully you didn't need your calculator for that. And there is your answer. You're welcome for the toughies.